Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us today. Rick is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, over 20 years experience in the financial industry. But the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group really is here to help you figure out where you are on that road to retirement. The big picture blueprint that they create for their clients, and actually it's not really for, it's with, because they need to understand your hopes and dreams and what are you going to do, how are you going to spend your time in retirement, how much income do you need, is your money going to last as long as you need it. So the big picture blueprint gives you direction and clarity on your road to retirement, income, investment, taxes, health care, legacy planning, Social Security, Medicare decisions, a lot of things going on that everything's on our shoulders. Why not have your own personal wealth coach like Rick Rivera and the team at Safeguard to help guide you? 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. Rick, welcome. How are you?
Oh, real good. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate how you doing.
I'm doing well, and we're going to talk. I mean, you've been in this over 20 years, and you guys, you and Reed Aberdeen and Eddie Soda started the company back in 2008. I don't know if you remember what was going on in 2008. Do you have any memory of that?
A giant market decline.
Yes. So you think to those people that were working, and that was when Leno and Letterman would make, hey, I hope you're enjoying your 201k. It's no longer a 401k.
Yes.
But that was a pretty tough decade, the lost decade, the dot-com bubble bursting in the early 2000s. Then you have the Great Recession, 07 to March of 09. And now they're saying, there's an economists in the U.S. that are saying there's an 85% chance of us going into a recession this year, and that is the highest probability since 08, the great financial crisis. Are you buying this? I mean, it's an election year, presidential election year. Typically, the markets, 9 out of the last 10, I think, the markets have been up during that presidential election year. And then the Fed's kind of in a tough spot because they've talked about lowering interest rates because of inflation, right? Inflation's coming down. Let's lower the interest rates a little bit. And we have a ton of debt. That would be good if we lowered interest rates. But the Fed doesn't want to appear political either. They can't make everything perfect for Biden, and so it looks terrible for Trump, or make it bad for Biden so Trump looks. I mean, they're in a weird spot in a presidential election year. Are you projecting that we might have a recession, or are we good?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, if you're asking me personally, I don't think that, we're going to have a recession this year. But at the end of the day, you know how many times, I mean, this isn't throughout my career, I heard we're going to have a recession, we're going to have depression, we're going to have this, we're going to have that. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter as long as you're prepared for it. And the whole thing is we don't have that crystal ball. Yeah, there might be a recession. Some of these experts might be right. Some of these experts might be wrong. But rather than trying to, guess and assume, what we do is we plan for the worst case scenario. If it occurs, we know we're fine. I don't have to plan for the best case scenario because then I know, my clients are going to be okay under that situation. But, if somebody's just asking me generally, what's your gut feeling? I would say I don't believe that there's going to be a recession. But as long as your plan is in order, it should be positioned to protect you just in case there is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, we plan for the worst, but hope for the best. I think we all hope that everything goes well. But I guess if you have people that are concerned, and certainly in a presidential election year where everything's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty conflicting between sides,
Yes.
it seems
Yep.
to me. It used to be about what's the best for the country. Now it's more party-driven, which I don't like at all. But when you have people come in and they are a little concerned, what happens if this happens? What if that happens? How are we going to deal with it? How do you talk to people so that they feel pretty comfortable, though, and confident maybe with their retirement monies that they're going to be okay? Because you got to deal with some of that, I would think, people are nervous. Oh, Biden wins, that's not good. If Trump wins, that's not good. Or if Biden wins, that's great. Or if Trump wins, that's great, right? I mean, you get both sides of the coin here.
Oh, absolutely. And I even get the, hey, of, people reading things telling them, the sky is going to fall and they should put all their money in gold. And I get every scenario you can think of. I think the big picture here is making sure, number one, they shouldn't panic. But here's the thing, me telling them they shouldn't panic is it's easier said than done. So how do we prevent somebody from not panicking? We have to educate them. We have to make sure that they understand that the plan that they're actually in, and understands that, hey, how is my retirement going to be affected, or my estate or my investments going to be affected if these scenarios occur that they're so concerned about? And if they know exactly how their plan is going to react under those scenarios, then there's no need for them to panic. The ones that do panic really don't have a game plan. And how do you get educated? Well, number one, you get an analysis done. You sit down with a professional, have them review your scenario, look at your current situation, and based upon your goals, your objectives, what you're trying to achieve income wise, and all the rest of it, design a plan that if these scenarios occur, recession, depression, whatever, you're fine. So this way you don't have to panic. You become more of a disciplined investor by having the education and having a plan going forward, rather than kind of doing things willy-nilly and just hoping for the best.
So if you'd like to sit down with Rick and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, there is no cost for this whatsoever. There's no obligation. There's no pressure. So if you'd like to find out where you are you set up the right way with your portfolio? There's a lot of things that Rick can probably help you with. It's 800-700-1980. Again, no cost for this, 800-700-1980. And it's really this simple. If Rick can help you, he will tell you that. If he can't help you, he will tell you that. If you don't need any guidance, you've already won the game, you're good. Just keep on doing what you're doing. They will tell you that. If they can help you, though, then it's, do you want their help? I mean, it's really pretty simple. 800-700-1980. I think it's one of the more important phone calls you can make, just to find out where you are. 800-700-1980. And you mentioned it's kind of crazy when you think about presidential election years. So here's I could do a commercial for you right now. Biden's going to say if Trump wins, democracy as we know it is over. And if Trump will be saying about Biden, well, if Biden wins, we're going to be overrun by the border, and we're going to have no, law enforcement in the war. So both sides, it's nothing but scare tactics all the time. And I think both sides are a little bit crazy, is what I think, because they try to scare you. And that's one of the things that you don't do at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. You tell your clients, here's what it is, not I think it could, you're not going to try to scare them. Boy, if you don't come in and get a plan, you have no chance to succeed in retirement. That's not the case, but you could certainly give them some opportunities and give them some ideas that will help them.
Absolutely. And, and the scenario here is, you have to realize, and, let's not take things out of context. Our economy, our market, has been around for, roughly 95 years. And it's seen all different administrations, has seen inflation, has seen low inflation, high inflation, seen wars, seen, oil embargo, everything you could possibly see. And the scenario with our market is that it's recovered 100% of the time. So if I came to you and I said, Mark, I got this market we can invest in and it's recovered 95% of the time, you might say, hey, Rick, those are pretty good odds. But our market is recovered 100% of the time. So it's how we leverage and put things together. And again, it's about creating that plan. Now, what's included in the plan, that's the big thing. And what are some of the things that we look at when we sit down with a person? And I'll just give you a variety of things that we look at. Number one, obviously, we want to see their overall situation. There's targeted questions that we ask the individual to see what their goals and objectives are going into the future. But we're going to look at everything from the risk that they're taking, make sure it makes sense for their situation, especially if you won the comfortable retirement. We want to make sure that any risk that you're taking is enhancing what you're doing, not taking away from what you're doing. We want to look at fees, internal costs. We want to look at, income, make sure that it's reliable under any economic condition. We also want to look at tax strategies, because again, any money that we save in taxes, and I hate to sound like a broken record, because I'm sure people have heard me say this over and over again. If I can save you 10 or 15% in taxes, how easy is it to make that same 10 or 15% in the market? Then we look at Roth conversion strategies. We look at long-term care. We share ideas that we've seen other clients of ours go through in retirement. We share these ideas with you, so that way you're not caught by surprise. And of course, wealth transfer strategies. So there's a variety of bullet points that we hit to make sure that your estate is kind of surrounded by a moat, so nothing can, get in, so to speak, that, you don't, and, protects you from the enemy, so to speak, which would be, the recession, depressions, the different administrations and all the rest of it.
One of the things that I think is always, I like to hear you talk about it, is one of the things you say, come in for a 45-minute chat and you will what?
I'll give you at least 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is that you're currently doing. And I promise you, it'll cost you nothing to do. I've been doing this long enough that I know for a fact you come in and I'll give you 2 ideas that'll cost you within 45 minutes. I'll be able to give you 2 ideas that'll enhance what you're doing. And if I can't, I tell you what, I'll give you a $25 gift card to Starbucks. That's how confident I am.
Yeah, so Rick's not guaranteeing you that he can fix any problems you have, but he can certainly make you aware of those, or but he certainly can give you some ideas that will help what you're currently doing. That by itself, I think, is worth the opportunity to talk with Rick and the team at Safeguard. Again, it's 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. There's no cost to you whatsoever. Might be one of the more important phone calls you make, and it's just giving up some time to find out where you are on that road to retirement. 800-700-1980. Going to have a little fun in our next segment. Stay with us. Back with more with Rick Rivera right here on the Big Picture Retirement Show.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. Rick, a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. You can always go to the website to learn more about Rick and the team at safeguardinvestment.com. And from time to time, they put on events for prospective clients. Sometimes it's for clients only. But that information is on the website as well, safeguardinvestment.com. If you have questions, you can always give the team a call. It's 800-700-1980. We're going to throw in a couple questions that we've done before, like a mailbag segment, but these are just kind of some random questions. And then we're going to get to know Rick a little bit better. We're going to have a little lightning round, kind of a fun think fast. For example, what's your biggest pet peeve? We're going to ask questions like that. We're going to learn a little bit more about Rick Rivera. You ready to tackle some of these, Rick?
I don't know. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Here, Mark.
But I'm going to ease you into it with some normal retirement questions first.
All right.
Okay. Here's the question. What could be the impact on my pension if I decide to retire early?
Okay. Good question. Well, obviously, number one is going to be, depending on when you retire, is going to depend what benefits you get. So if you retire early, pension could be, obviously less than what you're expecting. So if you do plan on retiring early, very important to get those numbers, because if you're trying to create income, we have to know exactly what numbers you're going to be receiving the date that you're going to be retiring.
Is that kind of like Social Security? You take Social Security earlier than full retirement age, you get less. Is it kind of the same with the pension?
Correct. Yeah. Exactly. And the other thing that we got to take into consideration too is, hey, if you're going to do a survivor's benefit, keep in mind that's also going to be cut down as well. So everything's going to kind of prorate. So if we're not only planning for retirement, making sure you and the wife have proper income, we also have to think about the survivor, because what if, God forbid, one spouse predeceases the other? Then sometimes those pension checks get cut and that amount might be reduced as well. So very important that you find out what those numbers are. But real quick, what dovetails into that is same thing with the 401ks and those types of things. Because if you retire early, depending upon how long you've been at the job, sometimes there's vesting issues that you run into where the company's been putting money away into the 401k. And if you haven't been with the employer long enough, they can claw back some of that money. So, because I have clients that, maybe they've worked for a variety of different companies and they may have several pensions from different companies. And the last employer they've been with maybe only 3 or 4 years, and now they've been contributing to the 401k. They got X amount of dollars. And then they realize, oh, wait a minute, I haven't been with this company 5 years and a certain portion of this money is not invested. So a certain amount of money that you thought you had is really not going to be there. So very important, if you plan on retiring early, you get those numbers and, again, sit down with somebody that can help you with all that. So that way you're not caught by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that I know you help people with, and we've seen it more, I don't know, in the last decade, I suppose, than ever before, the lump sum buyouts. Hey, we don't really want you on our books anymore, but we're going to give you the opportunity to take X amount of dollars instead of the pension the way it was designed. And that sometimes sounds like an easy decision, but it's probably not, because it depends on, I guess, whomever you're sitting down with, whether they should take the lump sum or they should take the pension the way it's designed. How do you figure that out?
Everybody's situation is different. So what we do is, again, we have scenarios where, let's say, Social Security and other income sources are enough to sustain the client's lifestyle. And now the pension is like, hey, we can give you a monthly benefit or we can give you the lump sum. Well, if they don't need the monthly benefit, then we can say, hey, it might make sense for you to take the lump sum, transfer that to a traditional IRA, let that continue to grow for you. And then down the road, if you ever need to trigger it for income, whatever you have it. But the other caveat to that is, if we're going to do that, in the meantime, now maybe we have Roth conversion options where now we start slowly converting this money to a Roth. So that way down the road, if you do need to offset income, we can do it on a tax-free basis. So, I mean, this is just one example. I mean, I can give you a variety of others, which we don't have time on the show to do. So again, you make a very good point, Mark. It's very important they sit down with somebody that specializes in this area so they can let the client know all their options, but it's specific to them.
Yeah, because I would think if wanting to leave money behind to their heirs, to their kids, for example, and the pension is a big part of that. Well, you can't leave pension could be joint with your spouse, but it can't go on past that. So maybe that situation you'd move it. I mean, so there's a lot of things to go try to figure out: pensions, 401ks, and what are you going to do? How are you going to handle it? This is the opportunity to come in and talk with Rick and the team at Safeguard. 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. All right, we're going to go to a little fun thing, and this is we call it Think Fast. Okay. All right, little lightning round, and you don't have to give me a whole lot of answers. We don't need to discuss it. But we might if I don't like your answer. Maybe I will.
Okay.
All right. So here you go. This is just really to help you get a better feel for Rick Rivera, help you get to know him a little bit. What is on your bucket list?
You know what? Just recently popped on my bucket list that I want to do. I was talking to, and it's funny that you mentioned it. I was talking to the wife about it the other day. I actually want to rent a catamaran and go around the island of Crete in Greece. That's actually on my bucket list, and we're actually planning for that. I always wanted to do that.
Why isn't it get it on a catamaran in San Diego and just take it across to Hawaii?
That the wife would not do. The wife would definitely not do that. She don't like boats as it is. It's hard enough convincing her to get on a catamaran, So, but just sailing around an island, not too far off the shore, that she can do.
Yeah, that would be beautiful too. All right, I like that. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, okay. So, all right.
So you're over 50. I'm over 60. We got pet peeves. We got things that bother us.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you whenever somebody that stands out in my head, and it's like nails on a chalkboard. Let me just tell you what my biggest pet peeve is. When I was growing up, in junior high, and also my mom, she taught me etiquette and she taught me manners and she taught me how to eat. What drives me nuts is when I see grown men or grown adults how they eat with their fork and knife, where you see them holding the fork like it's a club, as opposed to, for some reason, the way they hold the fork and knife when they're cutting is when they're not using proper etiquette, and they're literally stabbing the meat like it's like a kill. And they got the knife and like, I can't explain it. It just drives me nuts. Okay. I'm like, who raised you? Were you raised by wolves?
Okay. All right. I didn't see that one coming. All right.
Yep,
all right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my pet peeve. If you want me to keep it real, I'm going to keep it real.
Absolutely. Favorite comfort food?
Okay. I can go a couple of different areas with this. Number one, I love barbecue, but I love smoke. I love smoking. I have a Yoder 640 smoker grill. I smoke baby back ribs. That's like candy to me. I love that. Brisket. And then the other thing is a good bone-in ribeye. Those are two things that, that's my weakness.
Those are go-to, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I like both of those. Favorite athlete of all time?
Ooh. Okay, so, I like different athletes for different reasons, but I'm going to say the first thought that popped in my head was Jerry Rice, because I remember for years when I used to be a 49er fan, I loved Jerry Rice back in the day. Even got a signed jersey from him. And yeah, that's the first one that popped in my head. I can't give you
That's a pretty good one. I like
Yeah.
that. I mean, you could have gone with any of the millions of Dodgers that were really good, but I'm good with that. All right. Favorite book, and is it by Napoleon Hill?
Outwitting the Devil, because I referred that one to you to
You
read.
did.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, right now I'm reading Basic Economics from Thomas Sowell. This is the second time or third time I'm reading his book. Every time I go back through it, I catch so much stuff. But probably, yeah, you're right. My favorite book is going to be Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. No questions, hands down.
Written in the 1930s, not released until the 1970s, I believe.
Yeah, actually, it was 2011.
Oh, yeah, it was even later than that. That's right.
Yeah, 2011. Yeah,
Like 80 years later. How about that?
Yeah, and it's so amazing that all the stuff he was talking about back then still is relevant today. But what I loved about the book is him having that interview with the devil, where the devil, he's forcing the devil to answer his questions, and the devil has to give him his secrets. So it was just like a really entertaining book, but a lot of knowledge I got out of it.
Yeah. Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, if you'd like to look it up. All right, let me give you one more. Holiday you look forward to the most?
Okay, I'm going to say December is the month I look forward to the month. So that would fall into Christmas. It's not necessarily that Christmas is okay. That's what I'm looking, because I every December I take that month off. So that allows me to recharge my batteries. So and spend more time with the family and get that one-on-one time. So I would say Christmas, but it's because I actually take that whole entire month off.
That would be nice. I thought it might be July, so you could, smoke some brisket. Yeah. You can do that at any time.
Yeah.
All right, so there you go. Just a little fun with Rick Rivera, a little kind of lightning round, think fast type things, just some random questions, get a little better idea about Rick Rivera. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, if you have any questions about 401ks, pensions, what about healthcare and long-term care? What about taxes, which is a huge thing in today's world? But if you want to sit down and find out where you are, Rick and the team can certainly help. And Rick says, come in for that 45-minute chat. He'll give you 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you are currently doing. So a great opportunity for you to find out more. It's 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. Again, this is no cost to you. 800-700-1980. Rick, as always, enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Have a great week. We'll do it again next week.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.